Playland's Castaway Cove in Ocean City, New Jersey is one of many boardwalk amusement parks on the Jersey Shore. And of those seaside parks, it has one of the strongest ride lineups. So in this video, I will provide a review and overview of Playland's Castaway Cove. This park is located just a stone's throw away from the Atlantic Ocean on the lengthy Ocean City boardwalk. This boardwalk is filled with food, shops, and family-friendly attractions including arcades, mini golf, and amusements. And there are actually two amusement parks on this boardwalk. Just a half-mile down from Castaway Cove is Gillian's Wonderland Pier. But of the two parks, I far prefer Playland's Castaway Cove because of that superior ride lineup that I already mentioned. Because of the park's location on a touristy boardwalk, it doesn't have its own parking lot. Instead, you need to find street parking or fork over $10 to $20 for a public lot. Unfortunately, Playland's Castaway Cove doesn't regularly offer a pay-one-price wristband. They only offer this wristband at the very start or very end of the season on select days. Typically, you will have to pay per ride, and this can get very pricey. The prices aren't currently on the website, but if I remember correctly from my visit last year, each ticket costs $1, and most rides cost 3 to 6 tickets. I say most rides because there is one notable exception, in Gale Force. The park's signature roller coaster costs either 14 tickets, or you can purchase a special $10 Gale Force pass. So if you want to ride Gale Force multiple times, and you most likely will if you love intense roller coasters, you're going to have to pay a pretty penny. The lack of a pay-one-price wristband is the biggest downside with this park, especially since they have a lot of interesting rides here. But the lack of a wristband leads to lightning-fast operations so the park can maximize their profits. A downside to this is that their rides do not have choice seating since they want to load them as quickly as possible and get as many people on the ride as they can. You will be forced to board the next train, and you cannot wait for a specific row. Another negative about this park is how cramped it can get during the summer season. This is a flaw that is shared by a lot of boardwalk amusement parks out there. Because Playland's Castaway Cove has so little land to work with, the park decided to maximize the amount of attractions in this park over spacious midways. And I agree with that decision. It can just feel a bit claustrophobic when you're shoulder to shoulder with others in a sea of people that envelops you on all sides. The park gets particularly busy at night, which is one of the reasons this park is open so late. Unlike most parks that seem to get less crowded as the day progresses, the opposite happens at Castaway Cove, which is one of the reasons it's often open until 11 p.m. I think the park looks the best at night. Rides are constantly cycling from the crowds, and the park is booming with energy because of the proximity of the rides to the pathways. And since many of the park's flats are traveling carnival rides, they also have vibrant lighting packages. For better or worse, this park feels like an upscale carnival. The best looking section of the park was the main entrance with the iconic pirate ship. It was a flashy facade to pull people in from the boardwalk. But I say was, since this was unfortunately burned down in a 4-alarm fire last month. Thankfully, none of the rides appear to have been damaged, but the park did lose their arcade. For 2021, the park will be using an alternate entrance, but the intention is to rebuild their main entrance, which is great to hear. Because of the park's space constraints, Castaway Cove usually has to remove a ride in order to fit a new one. The best example of this was the major renovation that took place between the 2015 and 2016 seasons. During the 2015 season, Playland's Castaway Cove announced that they would be retiring not one, but 2 roller coasters. The park would be removing their biggest thrill coaster in Python, a Pinfari loop in Cyclone, and they would also be removing their family coaster in Flitzer. But these removals were not in vain. The park announced that they would be adding not 1, not 2, but 3 different roller coasters for the 2016 season. The most notable of these additions would be Gale Force, a prototype triple launch coaster from S&S. But there would also be an E&F Miler family coaster wrapped around Gale Force called Wild Waves, and there would also be an SBF Visa spinner in Whirlwind. But unfortunately, Whirlwind was the only coaster that would actually open in 2016 as planned. Both Gale Force and Wild Waves were delayed until 2017. Gale Force was delayed due to a faulty track piece and issues with the original train. But the ride was ready to go at the start of Castaway Cove's 2017 season, opening in May. Meanwhile, Wild Waves sat idle for months. It barely opened by the end of the 2017 season. It opened after Labor Day. I suspect it may have been due to an overspeeding issue, making the ride too intense for a family ride, and my evidence for this is the 6 different trim brakes on this coaster. I have a separate review of Wild Waves, but those brakes really do hurt the ride's pacing. But it does keep it a family coaster, so I do understand why they're there. However, if you ride this coaster up front, you get a dozen airtime moments, including a surprisingly powerful moment of ejector airtime on the last bunny hill. The ride looks janky, but it's actually pretty smooth. Gale Force was not well received when it originally opened. Many, myself included, found the coaster rough. But after the ride was retracked in the 2017-2018 off-season, it became one of the best rides in New Jersey. The coaster is extremely intense. It has relentless pacing, powerful ejector airtime, and disorienting maneuvers. Plus, the ride now gives you 2 laps to help get you your money's worth. Like Wild Waves, I also have a review of this coaster, if you want some more information, and this truly is the park's signature ride, and it's the main reason why you should visit this park. The final coaster is a Mylar Kiddie coaster in Pirates Gold Rush, which is great for the kids. Beyond the coasters, the other thing this park is notable for is its collection of thrilling flat rides. The park used to be home to one of the most forceful and dizzying spinning rides of all time in Tropical Storm, but it was unfortunately removed. Thankfully, it was replaced by one of the best flat rides in the world in Squadron 33. This is a technical park aerobat, and it's similar to those Gerstlauer sky rollers. Basically, you are given 2 paddles, and you use those while simultaneously shifting your weight in rhythm to invert. And this is quite easy to do, and once you start flipping, you can actually get 50 or 60 flips in this ride. And the flips aren't homogeneous either. You get rapid flips at the bottom, and at the top, you get slower inversions with hang time. There are also 3 other flat rides of note. First is Double Shot. This S&S drop tower is one of the smaller ones out there, but it offers some solid pops of airtime atop the ride, and a great view of the ocean if you're on the correct side. Plus, this one gives a double cycle, much like Gale Force. Second, you have Tidal Wave. This is a Sartori techno jump. This ride runs a ridiculously long cycle, going both forwards and backwards. The ride is mostly about rapid bounces feeling chaotic, but it does offer a few faint pops of airtime at several points in the ride. 3. You have Extreme Cyclone, a frisbee ride with some solid pops of airtime. And it's cool how it swings out over the midway. On hot days, your best bet is the High Seas Log Flume, which is your typical portable log flume. This park doesn't have any traditional dark rides, but it does have 2 fun houses, which seem to be major hits among the younger guests. And then you round out the park's lineup with several family flat rides and kiddie rides that are scattered throughout the park. This is opposed to some parks that have a dedicated kiddie land. So is Playland's Castaway Cove worth visiting? Absolutely. The park's pay-per-ride system does make it expensive, so I don't recommend spending an entire day here. But thrill seekers should definitely pop in to try Gale Force, Wild Waves, and a few of the park's flat rides. If you want to maximize your Gale Force rides, I would look into visiting on one of the days when the park offers a wristband. This ride lineup makes it one of the top boardwalk parks in New Jersey. I do prefer Maury's Piers for their quantity, but I do think Playland's Castaway Cove has the best single attraction on the Jersey Shore in Gale Force, plus several strong supporting rides. I do think several of the other parks are better values though, even if they are expensive in their own ways, because those parks at least offer a wristband. So those are my thoughts on Playland's Castaway Cove. What are your thoughts on this park? Have you been there? I would love to hear what you think about the park down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.